welcome back to another great episode of hashtag Screw the W2. And today I got on a friend and coworker, and what my wife calls her, my work wife, Paia. Welcome to the show.
Hello, John.
How's it going?
I think we get like phone calls like what, how many times a day? Or
I don't.
is it just like long phone calls?
Yeah, long ones. Yeah, it's like my battery's gonna die. Bye.
Yeah.
But anyways, for my listeners, and I've brought on numerous guests for this show, but can you maybe take us back in time? What was your previous job? What was your previous W-2 job before you became a real estate agent?
So my previous job was working as a design consultant at A&W Furniture in
Okay.
Ritter Falls. Yes. So that was my last W-2. It was considered part-time, but at the same time, it was full-time, working 4 days out of the week. But a lot of the times, I did end up bringing my work home.
One of those jobs where it's part-time, but no cap on the hours you put in.
Yes.
Gotcha. So, and then what was you mentioned you're 4 days a week and brought some work home. Well, like what was a typical work day for you like?
So the store, I believe at the time, the store hours has changed now, but I
Okay.
believe at the time it was like a 9 to 5. So in the morning you go in, you go and clean up your area. As I don't know if anybody has been into the store, but the store is over 100,000
It
square feet,
yeah,
I
it's
think it
big.
was. So typically everyone had their section or designated area where they were seated, and then you would clean up your area, make it presentable when the store was open, and then you get ready for the day when customers were to come in, and you assist each customer as they come, and so. Usually you deal with either customers that are purchasing what's available on the floor, or most of the time, as we did was like I think 80% was a order, or it might be even a higher percentage, I can't remember, but it was a special order or something I had to order online that would take 4 to 6 weeks or three
Mhm.
months up to 3 months, and so that was a general day, I guess, and then following up on those orders, just making sure that they have been placed, everything is good, the status, has it shipped yet?
Okay.
And then items that were shipped and that was available at the store, you had to make sure, if they were on the delivery schedule, ready to be delivered out to clients. And then also sometimes kind of threw in there with design consultations where you had to get a design ready for a client that you haven't met, weeks or how many weeks before, and have them come in and see if, the design that you had made for them, they were happy with it or changes that need to be. So just kind of like everything
Sure.
that I dealt with.
All right. Sounds good. And then with that, and maybe I should start off with how long had you worked at A&W, and was there maybe a I don't know, series of events where you decided, yep, I got to get out of here, or I don't want to do this anymore, or, there's got to be something else out there?
Yeah, so I've been there for 6 years.
Okay.
I started as a receptionist actually.
Oh, okay.
And I think that was, yeah, I started as a receptionist, part-time again. Um, and so I did that for I think a year, when I found interest in sales, which I could never sell anything. I never imagined myself being a salesperson. So it's just kind of one of those. I guess I'm not kind of a school person. I don't like school. I hate academics, like anything having to do with it. But if you can show me hands on, like I'm all for it, and I'll learn it that way. And so you can show me, and anything from there, like, I love the challenge of that. And I think that's what I saw was, being, just a receptionist, talking with clients, making appointments, checking out, the furniture to clothing to accessories. And then when I saw the sales, um people out there selling, and the items, that were, whether it was home decor or furniture. I was just, well, first was home decor, and I was like, hey, you know what, I can do that, I think. And so I challenged myself, and that's kind of like my whole, adult life, or even when I was 16, was just to challenge myself. Even though I don't have the education, I was felt like, I can one up myself. What more can I do? So it's always been that way. And so I decided, I wanted to give a shot in sales. And so I did that for the 5 years. And again, just that challenge, that constant challenge that I every year kind of, gave myself, like, all right, I can do this. And then, challenge myself the next goal, and
Okay.
so eventually it kind of like capped out for me,
Okay.
where I wanted to do more. But at the time, what I wanted to do more wasn't quite available yet for me, whether it be me as a person that they didn't quite see, or what it was. And so I just kind of like was at a standstill.
Okay.
And I felt like I reached my, capacity, or what I was able to do as a sales consultant or as a
Mhm.
design consultant, in that matter. So then it got to be more of, paperwork and all that stuff. And I was just kind of like, well, I decided to become a salesperson to sell furniture, to have this challenge. And so it kind of, at the end, I didn't get that drive anymore that I used to. And so I felt like, I needed more. And I
Sure.
think it's time, after
Okay.
the 6 years.
Gotcha. No, it makes sense, and I can speak to the same way. And obviously, both of us are realtors now. Where I spent 12 years in office equipment sales, and I kind of felt like, yeah, I've reached my peak. There's really not much more I can accomplish, and if I was to go into a management position, I'd probably take myself out back and shoot myself. So
You're
I
right.
had to find something different. So, but so
Yeah.
then so with that switch, how did you come across, well, Minnesota Lands and Homes, but how did you come across real estate? And then how long have you been a real estate agent then?
So my sister actually, my younger sister, she's exactly a year younger than I am.
Okay.
Um, she actually had called me, and I'm not sure how it started, but one of my managers actually, at A&W Furniture, always had her real estate license, and she always, kept it on ice. And I was wondering, like, what does that mean?
Okay.
Now I know what the term is. So, but she's always had it, and then she had left, and then that was like a year, that I stayed after at A&W, and I'm thinking, I'm like, you know, that sounds really cool, but it's just really intimidating,
Mhm.
because now you're not talking about just like, a $2,000-3,000 couch, or even that's a lot. But you're
Yeah.
talking smaller scale, and now you're talking about like a huge scale, and
Yeah.
so I kind of pondered, like, what am I going to do next, and so first, I don't know what happened or what it was. And I must have spoke to my sister, and she goes, well, you should, look into real estate, and she got her real estate license in Wisconsin. And she goes,
Okay.
I think, you're really good with people, and you're really patient. And she goes, and I'm not. But so you should try and give real estate, a chance. And I said, well, I mean, what does all entail, or like school, or again, me, I'm not a
Yeah.
school person. So when getting your license and going to school, I was just gonna like, you know I was like, I don't know, it seems very intimidating. And like the process of it, like how long it's going to take. So I was thinking, I'm like, well, at this point, I mean, I'm already fallen out of the sales, furniture sales, and like that love that I have for it. And I said, what do I have to lose? I'm
Mhm.
not sure what I can go forth and on. And what this real estate gives me is that challenge that I'm looking
Sure.
for, right? And so challenge of going back to school, and then challenge of selling a bigger product, I guess,
Right.
And so I was like, why not? If she can do it and I have people to guide me, why
Hmm.
not? And so I decided to take it on, and I stayed with my furniture for, let's see, I got my license in April of 2018.
Okay.
And I was gonna go. So furniture sales was, it was busy in the winter and slow in the summer, because everyone
Mhm.
has gone on to the lake. And then
Sure.
real estate is busy in the summer, and slow in the winter.
Right. Makes sense.
So then, yeah, so then I was thinking, I'm like, well, I can do I can do furniture in the winter and then,
Hmm.
do my real estate in the summer. Well, I got my license in April and then it just got super busy. So I decided to take on full-time real estate in October of 2018 and have been a
Okay.
realtor ever since.
Okay. So, and do you remember the exact day of your last day of work, or you just remember it was October of 2018 at that point?
I think it was the end of September, I
Okay.
think it was, that I knew I was like, or October, I can't remember, but I was like super excited at the same time, like, holy crap, I'm gonna do this. And,
Yep.
I mean, I knew I was gonna go backwards, but I knew like,
Hmm.
with my husband's support and everything, like I knew it was gonna be like I do it now or I don't ever because, you know, my former manager was saying, it's like either you do it full time or you do it part time, and who are people are going to call a part
Yep.
timer realtor, or they're going to call a full time realtor that's
Right.
invested in it full time. And so, I was excited for that date to come and just and be done with that, and so then I can focus on just real estate. So
Sure. No, makes sense.
exciting.
With that, and obviously you mentioned, you just wanted to, you know, push yourself farther, challenge yourself, see what else is out there. But looking back, and we're coming up on 5 years that you left your, quote, safe and secure W-2 job. Has there been any regrets you've had since leaving, and then becoming a full-time realtor?
No regrets.
All right.
No regrets at all. The freedom of
Hmm.
it is just insane that you can't explain.
Yep.
And I think, not even, I guess, the weirdest thing is I've never been a good money saver, I guess, like, so you're used to like getting the debt collected and paying your bills every month, and you use your credit card and, you're, paying it off. Like,
Yep.
I don't think I ever saw like the end of the tunnel for some of these bills if I'm going to pay like it off, and um, so with that, even on top of it, like, I don't have to, especially with kids, so I have three girls too. And I could, send them off to school. I can, be home with them,
Yeah.
whenever, appointments, it's so much easier. I've been able to have lunch with them, twice,
Wow.
3 times a year, and, and surprise them with that, which, regular 9 to 5, you can't do,
Right.
and so you just kind of
Exactly.
stuck, right? And so the whole schedule, the whole money side of it, like for me, it was just like the real estate, as you can see, like it's going to take some, it took some time to get used to it, like because you're not a 9 to 5, get paid every 2 weeks. And so you just got to be smart with that. And so I did, instead of like the monthly payment that you just kind of inch away at it every
Yep.
month, I was able to like lump sum and pay off, my car, or pay off, a debt. And it just like, and I feel like I'm so less stressed in that and
Okay.
piling up, that debt. And so that's another side of it too. Like I just love being, self-employed, my own boss,
Yep.
get to do what I want, how I want to do it. I mean,
Hmm.
it's the best. I can't explain it, I guess, and
Yeah, nope, I
how
agree.
cool it
And
is.
yeah, no, and I agree. And I'm in the same boat. It's like, if, Heather and I want to take a week trip to Disney or go on a road trip, we can. We don't need to, beg and grovel for 2 weeks vacation or
Right.
some time off or anything like that.
or
So
find a replacement, right?
exactly. Yeah. So, because that's as soon as you leave, that's when the calls and emails and questions are going to come in.
Yep. No, you
So.
can't leave. You got to find somebody to replace you.
Exactly. So now, obviously, both of us are kind of in a similar job positions. But for anyone listening, and not necessarily someone listening that they want to be a realtor, per se, but anyone out there that maybe I don't know, maybe they've been in a job for 6 years, they feel similar, that they've gone as far as they can, but overall they feel stuck, or for whatever reason, well, that's too big of a risk to make that leap into real estate or self-employment, whatever the case may be. What advice would you give to them if they were listening to this?
Um, I think I mean the biggest thing is having that support system.
Okay.
getting that support system, I think, is huge. Without, my husband, I guess, and having that support of, yes, you can do it, and then believing in yourself too, I think
Mhm.
is, the other thing. If you, I always say, like, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Okay.
Coming from a no, like, education background. But if you yourself have that motivation to, because I think that's what it is real estate is being, self-motivated, right?
Mhm.
If you have that drive, to not need a boss to tell you, to get your work done, to, make something happen.
Mhm.
I think this is totally doable in that aspect where you have the support system, you have the motivation, um, the resources is there,
Okay.
and so, and like you, like I have you, to thank for, too, is to have, and then I think that's the biggest thing is knowing that you're not alone,
Yeah.
and finding the resources and being open to talk to, anybody,
Sure.
and not being afraid to, yeah, to do that and go out and say, hey, how does this work? How do you do this? And listening, and then listening to your inner self and thinking, I have motivation,
Yeah.
and I'm not afraid to try it. And yes, it's a big leap. Be ready to go backwards,
Yep.
because that first second year is hard, but and the biggest thing is too, like, my advice is to, like you, to jump or to, go into something is to talk to someone who's already done it, right?
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing was like my, like, the light bulb went off and I was just thinking, I'm like, why am I trying to reinvent this wheel that's already
Right.
been invented, that somebody already became successful doing it?
Mhm.
So why don't I just do the same? And so I did. I asked, hey, how did you get this? How did you do it? And I did exactly the same thing. And I think that's how, it, that the road for me, I felt like wasn't, as harsh as what I thought it would be, as hard as it
Okay.
would be, but just knowing the people to ask and not being afraid to do it, and going for it, so, because
Sure.
what do you got to lose? I stayed with my part-time, and if it didn't work, I knew I had that to fall back on. Of
Yep.
course we don't want that W-2 9 to
Right.
5, but you have those to jump on. And the nice thing is, with, how it is nowadays, you can do all this in, an online deal. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You're not out going to a college, a tech school, or 4-year school of thousands of dollars. This
Right.
is just
And thousands
I
of
say,
hours.
yeah, right. And it's just a small investment, I guess,
Yeah.
is what, that we're spending money, throwing it away, and so the amount of money I felt like investing into this to start up, was totally worth it. And whether it did work or it didn't work, I felt like it was, a good investment on my part.
Okay. No, it makes sense. So, well, as we wrap this up, I and again want to thank you for taking the time to educate my listeners and share your story. But as we're heading into 2023, is there any you know specific things you're excited about, or any new goals for the year, or if anyone listening to this in Southwest Minnesota wants to work with you as a realtor, what's the best way to reach out?
Well, thank you, John, for having me. And I think, 2023, I'm all excited. I know, interest rates I'm hearing going up again.
Yeah.
But it's the way how we look at it, I guess, is what I'm learning, which is huge because you think about it back when, what the interest rates were. And
Yep.
so we're still catching up. Actually, buyers are still, catching up for 2-3 years ago that I see. So we still have people piling up. So if you're looking to sell, it's still the right time to do it if you got a place to go, obviously.
Right.
But we're still having buyers catching up from 2-3 years ago that are just still, renting, and they're still wanting out. And so
Mhm.
they're figuring out they still have to buy a house. So I'm excited, to get back on it again. Last year was a little slow, but I had a, graduate, a high school graduate, and getting her into college. So,
Yep.
I'm excited for 2023. I got something in the works that, I'm gonna, look into, possibly a, I don't even know what you call it, a brokerage license. Who knows?
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure
All
if
right.
that's what I'm gonna look into, to challenge myself again, because like you said, I'm like, I can't believe I've been doing this already for almost 5 years.
Yep.
Um, Yeah, and so it's insane. But just to, gain more knowledge and stuff like that, and
Okay.
so that's all it is, not looking to open a brokerage or anything like that. It's just to
Sure.
gain more knowledge. I don't want that responsibility. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Nope, I'm in the same boat. It's like, yep, I just want to help the first time home buyers and the investors and, get the, you know, uh, paychecks here and there and call it good.
Exactly, exactly, and so I just, and that's all I want to gain out of this is just some more knowledge, and like, and
Mhm.
why I did real estate, was because our generation, my generation, younger generation, and even my parents as, first generation immigrants, or like that, is we're seeing more and more of that coming into Marshall area and where I service. And so, I wanted to do that for that language barrier and know, like, I wanted to help the community in a way I can help, and so this is just to kind of, wanted to gain that knowledge and be in the forefront, I guess, and be
Mhm.
there for them and how I can assist them, like my parents. And so, because it's hard, you got the language barrier, and the
Yeah.
patience that they need and all that stuff. And so that's all why I'm moving forth with it. But yeah, if you have any real estate needs, and like you and me, I mean, I love to give me a shout out, and whatever. And I mean, we have a great team at Minnesota
Yeah.
Lands. So
No, definitely agree. And yeah, hopefully Broker Dave and our office assistant Danny, who's well, she's in Aruba right now at the time of this recording,
yes,
but hopefully
I want to
they
be in
see this
Aruba.
exactly. Yeah, as we're dealing with 10 feet of snow. I lost count after the last snowfall. So
Who knows? But all I know is my daughter, who's in Duluth, is having a better winter than we are.
that just doesn't seem possible. But yeah,
Yeah.
crazy Southwest Minnesota. So, all right. Well, Paia, again, thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing your story, and best of luck here in 2023.
You're welcome. Thanks, John.